Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. We're so excited to have you all here to participate in the webinar on women entrepreneurship, organized by the Laboratory of Industrial and Energy Economics at the National Technical University of Athens in collaboration with the Pinot Incubator and Invent IST. Our lab hosts this event for the second consecutive year in the context of a global initiative called Weekly Women Entrepreneurship. This initiative involved more than 140 universities in 32 countries worldwide last year. And our aim with this workshop is to highlight important challenges as well as emerging opportunities in the Greek entrepreneurial ecosystem by focusing actually on innovative, knowledge-intensive ventures that they have at least one woman in their founding team. We have some very talented women here with us today this evening, and we hope that this will be an interesting event and most importantly, an inspiring event, especially for our students. So let me start by setting the scene for the next 10 minutes or so and present some stylized facts that will show us that there is indeed a gender gap impacting also entrepreneurial activity. And while this trend is slowly changing, it seems that there is a long way to go. So I will start sharing my presentation, which is a short presentation. I hope you can all see it.
Yes.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, as I said, I'm going to give you some stylized facts on gender gap. Female entrepreneurs represent the fastest growing category of entrepreneurship worldwide, and recent studies suggest that women can make a significant contribution to entrepreneurial activity, but also economic development, both in terms of creating new jobs, as well as increasing the gross domestic product, but also in terms of increasing fairness and diversity, and ultimately leading to more inclusive societies and economies as a whole. However, although over the years there has been a significant increase in the number of women entrepreneurs, global statistics highlight that it will take at least another 100 years to completely close the gender gap between men and women, and more than 250 years to achieve equality between the two genders in the workplace. And this is confirmed actually by the Global Gender Gap Report 2020, which has been recently published by the World Economic Forum, taking into account 4 different indicators related to health, education, political empowerment, and economic participation and opportunity. And what we can see here is that there is actually a long way to go, as a 31% average gender gap remains to be closed. Excuse me. By seeing more closely the 4 subdimensions, okay, we see that political empowerment is something, women is an area where women are severely underrepresented, and this is quite expected as the presence of women in politics is extremely limited worldwide. But what I would like to draw your attention on is the actually gender gap related economic participation and opportunity sub-index. And this is the largest, the second largest gap. 58% of this gap has been closed so far, but there is a long way to go. And this reflects the fact that women are persistently less present in the labor market than men. And most importantly, within the labor market, gender gaps widen with seniority level. And this actually is reflected in the fact that only 36% of senior managers, either in the public or the private sector, are women. And also, financial disparities remain important, and these financial disparities regard wage gaps, but also income gaps. So, on average, over 40% of the wage gap and over 50% of the income gap between men and women are still to be breached. And these figures highlight not only that women in similar positions that men are still less paid, okay, but they also show that there is disparity between wage and income. So women do not only encounter challenges in order to get into senior roles, senior positions in the hierarchy, or they have encountered difficulties in order to get employed in higher reward segments of the economy. But they also, as a second part of the story, are less likely than men to have revenues from non-employment activities, such as financial investments or entrepreneurship, where financial gains are substantially higher. And if we want to set the scene to understand where Greece comes in this global gender gap thing, we can see that Greece ranks 89th among 153 countries. And what we see here in general is that Greece is more or less, at least as far as the global gender gap index is concerned, is very close to the general average. But if we want to see what happens in terms of European standards and where our country stands related to the Gender Equality Index 2020, this is an index actually estimated by the European Institute for Gender Equality and is related to different dimensions than the global Gender Equality Index, more or less the same, but more dimensions. Here, it is important to note that Greece ranks last in the EU on the Gender Equality Index. And most importantly, although it has had some progress since 2010, actually, since 2010, the ranking remains the same. That is in the bottom of the EU 20 countries. Just to give you some more figures and show you that although there is some progress, a lack of gender parity persists also in startups. And here I have found some numbers about women in technology leadership, recent numbers that are actually reflecting a survey work that has been done in tech and healthcare executives and founders in 4 different countries, US, UK, China, and Canada. And what we can see here is that on average, 56% of startups have at least one woman in an executive position, and only 40% have at least one woman on the board of directors. And we can see how numbers differentiate between countries. China is a bit higher than all other countries. Most importantly, 28% of tech and healthcare startups have at least one woman, only one woman on the founding team, but the rest of the founding teams, 72%, are male dominated. And I can tell you that similar numbers actually are confirmed by the recent EU startup monitor, which actually monitors with the same system of survey in startup founders. the progress of entrepreneurial startup ecosystem in Europe. So the startup founding teams are mainly, in their majority, are male dominated. And another important finding here is that very often the founder gender determines the women's roles in the firm, meaning that startups with at least one woman on the founding team are much more likely to have a female CEO. Well, exactly the opposite happens when we have a male CEO in the firm. And a last finding about technology leadership is that, of course, fundraising is a difficult issue for both male-dominated firms and firms with women founders. But what startups with at least one female founder stated is that the current fundraising environment was more challenging for them. So just to close up with this small presentation, what I wanted to show here is that, okay, there is a gender gap identified in many ways, and there are many challenges and biases persisting regarding women entrepreneurship and reflected in many studies of the European Investment Bank, OECD, and etc. And what we can actually say, some things that we can hold here, is that some of the most, let's say, prominent challenges, of course there are many more, there is a limited pool of women-led companies and female founders globally and in Europe. We can see a prevalence of higher risk aversion of women-led companies. They're less likely to pursue growth, and sometimes they're less likely to actually succeed in funding, so they have greater difficulty in accessing funding and also information resources. There is prevalence of women-led businesses in certain sectors. For example, we see a shortage of women in high technology sectors. Women entrepreneurs have smaller and less efficient business networks. They also exhibit lower levels of business and entrepreneurial skills, and this is also related to the fact that they cannot easily get in managerial positions, and this actually prohibits them from acquiring skills and experience in management and entrepreneurship that might be very useful for them in the future when they decide to go into entrepreneurship. There's also cultural and social attitudes and perception stereotypes that often discourage entrepreneurial action. We will see the fear of failure later on in the next presentation is important. And based on these challenges and biases, we can say that the whole ecosystem must be adapted, meaning all actors of the ecosystem, policymakers, investors, research and educational institutions, the whole product sector, existing firms, in order to promote and support more women entrepreneurship, and especially knowledge-intensive ventures, either they are startups or in corporate ventures in existing firms, as they can be a significant lever for high potential entrepreneurship. One last remark is about policy. Policy needs to be more in the direction of cultivating women's entrepreneurial aspirations, addressing market failures in the areas of skills and finance, and be more supportive by improving access to networks and also advancing growth-oriented entrepreneurs. Thank you. That was all. And now I will stop sharing, first of all, my presentation. And I would like to welcome now Sophia Stavraki, which is a research associate at the Foundation of Economic and Industrial Research, which is a private non-profit public benefit research organization. This organization is responsible for global entrepreneurship studies of the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor in Greece for over 16 years now. And Sophia is very much involved in this type of research, and she's going to present us some facts on female entrepreneurship in Greece based on the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor data.
Hello to everyone.
Thank you very much, Sophia, for being here with us, and the floor is yours.
Hello to everyone. I'm going to share my presentation. Just give me. Okay.
Yes.
Present neural landscape using and analyzing data from GEM program. GEM is an international research collaboration among research institutes and universities from all over the world that started in 1999. The program analyzes various aspects and dimensions of entrepreneurship, contributing to the theoretical and empirical research for promoting entrepreneurship worldwide. This is systematic and repetitive research that, by creating time series annually, allow us the dynamic exploration of the way several components of entrepreneurial activities, taking consideration of national specifics. The general scope is to measure the level of entrepreneurship in our country and explain the differences among other countries, reveal the factors that lead to satisfactory entrepreneurship levels, and finally to suggest policies that could improve entrepreneurship level in our country. Mainly in our analysis, we focus on the early stage of entrepreneurship with until 3.5 years of operation. So, to see the data, in Greece, the percentage of female population aged 18 to 64, which in 2019 was at the early stage of entrepreneurial activities, including self-employment, accounting to 7.6%, recording significantly increase compared to the previous year. The rate is among highest ever recorded in female early stage entrepreneurship. This is a very good signal for female entrepreneurship in Greece, but we have to examine the qualitative characteristics of these new female ventures. We have to check if these are sustainable and have significant prospects of growth. And unfortunately, the findings do not appear to be accompanied fully by substantial improvement in the qualitative characteristics that affect the viability of female entrepreneurship. In the following slide, examining the gender contribution of early stage entrepreneurship is recorded decrease in difference between gender. Okay, this is something normal. This finding is related to increase in female early stage entrepreneurship. As presented in the previous slide, many female new ventures increase in female early stage entrepreneurs when the male population entering in entrepreneurship remains stable, implies higher proportion of female. What about the motivation of female entrepreneurship? People are prone to start businesses mainly for one of two general reasons. because they have no other means of economic support or employment, or because they are pursuing a business opportunity. Early stage entrepreneurship rates typically decline with a higher level of national income, as does the likelihood that those who start businesses are doing so out of necessity, while at the same time, with higher levels of national income, the opportunity model increases. But we have to mention that the opportunity-driven entrepreneurship does not exclude the opportunity of making a living easier or to increase the income. While the necessity-driven entrepreneurship means that there's no other chance to work or living, refers exclusively to necessity. So in Greece, 28.2% of female early-stage entrepreneurs are necessity-driven entrepreneurs, while the remaining are opportunity. The finding probably indicates the difficulties that women face to labor market, difficulties to find a job. Related to the age of entrepreneurs, we observe very young female, and these findings have been fairly consistent over the year. So we have to do with very young female entrepreneurs. In general, lower participation from all age group is recorded compared to the Europe and high-income countries, except only from the age group of 18 to 24 years old. We have to note that in recent years, the average early stage entrepreneur being 36 years old, and the share of 18 to 24 years old participating in entrepreneurship is increasing. But the results are similar for male early entrepreneurship too. Generally, the data show that it's younger men and women under age 35 who are most active in starting business worldwide. But there are differences among countries related to income. Younger men and women are more inclined to engage in startups in low-income economies, while startup activities are more prevalent among older adults in higher-income countries. This trend is likely correlated to the motivation, necessity versus opportunity, and the fact that older adults are more likely to have the resources to apply to a new venture in high-income countries. Whether the development is positive or not is rather controversial. Very young entrepreneurs are characterized from passion and dynamism compared to other age, but at the same time, they lack of experience, knowledge, and network needed. That may decrease their chance of success. What about the educational level? Startup activities rates vary by educational level, as well by age in predictable ways from year to year. Generally, entrepreneurial activity rates go up with education level for both women and men, but the gender gap also tends to grow with education. What does it mean? These findings indicate that globally, women may realize higher returns compared to men based on level of education in other job opportunities, but financial and non-financial. The larger gender gap is seen at the gradual level of education, where women start businesses at 2/3 of the rate of men. The high rate of female entrepreneurship in 2018 was driven predominantly high school graduates. These findings probably relate to motivation of new ventures, but the encouragement of university-educated entrepreneurs should be a constant policy aim. Since the relevant literature shows that there is a positive correlation between higher education level and entrepreneurship. And this is an indication about the survival rate of new established business, of course. And moreover, investors are more likely to access higher education individual more positively in regards to financing. We have to note that globally, a deeper analysis of data sets suggests that women with less education are more likely to start businesses regardless of the income level of country. On the other hand, when women are more highly educated, they are generally less likely to start businesses, except in low-income countries. It's possible that motivation, opportunity, and necessity are also factors explaining these differences. At the same time, women with more education in high-income and middle-income countries may find more options for employment. So, okay. Now we try to examine what's the confidence of female entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurial activities are influenced by individual perception of opportunities, capabilities, by startup skills, fear of failure, whether one knows an entrepreneur. Perception of whether one has the star skill to start a business are generally very high in all countries. Well, increase over 73%, with the European average reach 82% for women. A key factor influencing startup is the extent to which entrepreneurs believe they have the skills to act on opportunities. The capability is part of the bank of human capital that an entrepreneur brings to a startup activity. It can be linked to educational level, experience in the industry, or general startup experience. Significantly higher the rates for fear of failure. It seems that in female entrepreneurship in Greece, the fear of failure may be a significant obstacle to female new ventures, since almost 3 out of 5 female entrepreneurs state that fear of failure may be a significant obstacle. Perception of failure can result from a variety of concerns about the consequences of business not succeeding. For instance, it can be social, or economic, or family related. Fear of failure may be linked to the opportunity cost of going forward, especially if there are other possibilities for employment. In less developed countries, where entrepreneurship is motivated by necessity, fear of failure may be lower, whereas in innovation economies, fear of failure may be higher. Perception of startup skills tracks consistently with the extent to which entrepreneurs are unattended by fear of failure. But we have to mention there is no strong differences between gender. Whether women are generally less optimistic about their business skills and men are more optimistic, or if the perception relates specifically to confidence start skills, we don't able to difference between genders. Only 24% of female entrepreneurs sees business opportunity in Greece in the short term, significantly lower than Europe and high-income countries. In case of male entrepreneurship, the rate is similar, so there is no gender gap. The pattern across national income levels is similar, with women in high-income countries less likely to see opportunities. More developed economies and those with higher income might offer greater opportunities for all entrepreneurs to create new ventures because of market development, infrastructure, and resources. Also, current statistics show women entrepreneurs are less likely than men to see business opportunities in the near future. It is widely acknowledged that knowing an entrepreneur can be a motivator because this provides a role model or even peer support for entrepreneurial activities. And entrepreneurs' connection to other entrepreneurs in the community are considered a positive influence. So, deeper analysis of data shows that the startup skills and being unattended by failure are both linked to self-confidence. Women are less confident in their entrepreneurial skills overall, and this is the most likely related to perception that being an entrepreneur is a male occupation, which results in women having lower self-confidence. Furthermore, knowing an entrepreneur provides examples and in many cases role models for being an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur. In countries where women are less likely to know an entrepreneur, they may believe that this person is less possible, and they may be less confident in their skills and skeptical to fear of failure. How about the attention for women? Entrepreneurship is a dynamic process with individuals starting, growing, and exiting businesses in a continuous process. All the phases of the entrepreneurial process are important from both a practice and a policy perspective, and therefore we should examine the trends from those interested in starting a business to those who have grown their businesses, and in many cases discontinuance at some point along the way. Examining rates of attention, stage of entrepreneurship, established businesses, and shutdown of business provides more important insights into the function of ecosystem. So, in Greece, the rate of women intention to start a business within 3 years is 5%, about 5 percentage points less than for men. Importantly, the gender ratio is similar in low countries, increasing substantially for middle-income and high-income countries. Generally, these findings suggest that women must like men report high attention, but not all attention translates into startup activities. That's, I think it's important. Okay. In the following slides, we present the stage of entrepreneurship, starting from a nascent and new entrepreneurs. Nascent entrepreneurs at individual age 18 to 64 years old that during the last 12 months had taken some preparatory actions for the launching of a new venture, self-employment included, while new entrepreneurs at individual age 18 to 64 years old that have found or participated in the funding of a new venture for which they have already paid salaries and had a turnover at least 3 months, but no more than 42 months. The gap in the consecutive phases of early stage entrepreneurship implies that many new ventures are shut down during the first 12 months of operation. So, the established business. In established business stages are counting businesses that are 42 months or older. In 2018, about 6.3% of women in Greece reporting owning a business more than 42 months old, significantly lower compared to men. However, the rates for established business ownership for female and for male too are lower compared to the previous survey. But the decrease is higher than male. Generally, GEM data show that as national income level increases, established business activity among women declines and the entrepreneurial gender gap tends to increase. The finding indicates that the female entrepreneurship possibly is more volatile in changing business environment. While certain factors affect all businesses regardless of entrepreneur gender, some conditions may differently affect established business rates for women compared to those for men, especially given gender stratification across industries. In the following slide, we present a very interesting fact related to the business discontinuance. Business discontinuance is defined as business closure that has occurred within the past 12 months. Respondents who reported business closure were also asked the reason why the business shut down. The majority of failed entrepreneurs, 3 out of 5, state the main reason for this suspension of activity was the lack of profitability. Compared to other countries, the findings are different. In Europe and in high-income countries, the main reason of the suspension of the activity is related to retirement issues or expansion of their activities, or probably an acquisition or merger of business. This finding are quite different from male entrepreneurs in Greece, since only one out of 3 state that down entrepreneurial activities due to low profitability. So the main reason for many entrepreneurs is not the lack of profit or the lack of finance. This result is probably indicates that men see more opportunities in business environment. They choose to expand or shut down their business to move to other activities. As a consequence, policy planning for the stimulation of entrepreneurship should not just focus on a pure quantitative increase, since high rates of newly established venture does not necessarily ensure their sustainability. Rather, fewer businesses can be created in an economy with better quality characteristics and a more significant multiplied effect on the economy. Emphasis in knowledge-intense entrepreneurship with qualitative characteristics and multiplied effect in economies will be policy priority. So, a major issue for economic development is entrepreneurship that creates jobs. When entrepreneurs declare no intentions to grow, their businesses may be viewed less favorably because they are not contributing to employment of others. But we have to say that it creates at least one job for the owner. However, there may be good reasons why a business does not grow, including factors as low level of education, of missing capabilities. There's no skills to expand their activities. An owner may be using family members to perform work in unsalaried roles, contracting temporary workings for various tasks, or intentionally creating a job for themselves doing something they enjoy. In such situations, their societies may be losing opportunities to create workforce employment, missing out on other benefits from the ventures. And as it is, while it's difficult to determine why self-employment rates vary by gender, the higher rates of self-employment, solo entrepreneurship, for women and men in Europe are likely connecting to government policies and regulations, regulation related to hiring and taxes, or even more access to resources and raising of capital or networking. But I think it's important to note that recent studies about self-employment and its connection to growth prospects shows children with self-employed parents are more likely to have entrepreneurial tension, to start entrepreneurial activities. But the reason for low rate possibly is related to business environment condition. Such conditions may include market demand, competition, skilled labor availability, labor laws, or regulations. Generally, higher income countries are more likely to show projection for hiring 6 or more employed persons in the next 5 years, but there are wide variation across countries. Growth is widely considered as measure of entrepreneurial success and maybe as a consequence of industry dynamics and resources. But it's very important the ability of raising capital in order to ensure growth prospect of entrepreneurial activities. And this is correlated with sector that new venture have their activities. So, in that context, it's very important to examine the sectoral distribution of new famous ventures. The sector of new venture may indicate a deeper aspect of domestic entrepreneurship related not only to growth prospect, contribution to employment, competition, and capital resources, but also educational level, innovation, and even more the technological advances of ventures. The general result from the data analysis.
Sophia, if I may interrupt you, please, do you have 4 or 5 more minutes, please, because we are out of time? Could you please speed up?
Yes, of course. Okay. Sorry. So the main sector of a new female inventor is retail and retail trade and wholesale trade. So there's no room and space for technological advances or to create innovative products. Only the extroversion as a factor may improve. Okay. Now we see the strong competition and low technology advances, but you have to say that the rates are similar in male entrepreneurship. So it has not to do with gender, but generally with business environment domestically. Innovation and exports. The data shows that tend to increase with economic development as innovation catalyzes a substantial jump from one level of development to the next. This progression typically reflects factors such as investment in advanced knowledge, higher education level, legal institutions that protect ideas, and sophisticated customers willing to try new things. In Greece, it is required high initial capital, mainly from family or other relatives. This finding is very important because it implies possibility of non-objective assessment of the sustainability of an idea, more sentimental and thus irrational. This result correlated with the result concerning the solent growth expectation of female entrepreneurship. The role of informal investor is substantial considering the problem of accessing to finance in Greece. Therefore, alternative source of finance venture may offer a solution without the cost of certain country's financial sector. Low opportunity perception for female population, but relatively high capability perception. An important ecosystem influences the perception about how easy it is to start a business. Starting a business includes several steps from managing the regulatory business registration process. The survey captures perception of the extent to which individual may unattended by a fear of failure. In Greece, only 30% of female feel unattended by fear of failure. Across all regions and income levels, men reported being less attended by failure than women. And last slide. Social perception of careers have a very strong influence on whether entrepreneurs will choose to launch a new venture. Here in Greece, data show that, new business is good career for female. We have high business status, high status, and slightly lower for good media and new business. This is the societal values for female entrepreneurship. That's the presentation. I feel for all my time. Okay. That's the main characteristic of female entrepreneurship. If you want, I want to discuss it or to stop the presentation because of time.
You can make one or two points, and we can move on to questions before going on to the women entrepreneurs that are going to present their ventures. So if you have 1, 2, 3 points to make here.
Of course. So the main characteristic of female entrepreneurship in Greece, we have to do with very young female entrepreneurship. The education level is the same as male entrepreneurship, but there are no female new venture in a high education level as in case of male entrepreneurship. Many new female venture in wholesale and retail trades and services, just like in the rest of Europe. Almost 24% of new venture with no jobs, but only almost 20% of female entrepreneurs that expect to hire more than 6 employed persons in the next 5 years. We have to do with strong competition and low technologies, but we have similar innovation rates with Europe and low exportation rates. What about the perception? Generally, we have record pessimism concerning opportunities to launch a venture in comparison with other countries. And a main disadvantage of domestic female entrepreneurship is the source of funding. High required capital, mainly from family. And we think that this is an obstacle to female entrepreneurship to grow, to promote the products and services into the foreign markets, and perhaps for innovation.
So I think we can stop here because we can't hear you very well. Yes. Thank you very much for this informative presentation on female entrepreneurship. What I can keep from here is that quality entrepreneurship is much more important than quantity entrepreneurship. Quality entrepreneurship is important with emphasis on knowledge and innovation. We have a need for high growth firms, more technology, and so on. We have also the importance of the role models. I will keep that. And thank you very much. Now, before moving on to the women entrepreneurs who are going to present their ventures, I would like to open the floor for 2-3 minutes for questions to Sophia and her presentation, if there are. Do we have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question.
Joanna.
Yes, I would like to congratulate Sophia Stavraki for her very thorough presentation, and I'd like to ask her 2 questions.
I can't hear you.
The results for the 2018 report.
She can't hear you, Joanna.
Oh, she can't hear me. I have my microphone open.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, of course. Oh.
Can she hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I want to congratulate Sophia Stavraki. Sorry. For her very thorough presentation. And I was just wondering whether the findings for 2018 are better or worse compared to the earlier GEM reports on the position of women in early stage entrepreneurship. And also if she has any idea of what differences there are in terms of characteristics between older women entrepreneurs and younger women entrepreneurs in Greece.
Okay, thank you for the questions. About compare the results to the previous survey. There are no significant differences. The trends are the same. We have no different aspects and facts. Relatively to the second question was about
older women, the younger group. You said that most of the female entrepreneurs are young, and I was wondering what qualitative differences exist between the elder women and the younger women in terms of education, choices, mentalities. If you have an idea, I understand that this question may not be easy to answer.
Okay. The only difference among different age group in female entrepreneurship is the motivation. In older age, the women launch a business because of opportunity. They have more opportunity perceptions.
Okay, we're talking about Greece now, correct?
Yes, Greece.
And what about high tech and low tech? And
there's no differences among age groups, different age groups.
Thank you very much.
So, are there any other questions from the floor, please? Anyone who wishes to speak? No. So if there are no other questions to Sophia, I would like to move on to Mrs. Joanna Zaryotti and her presentation. Joanna is a professor at the National Technical University of Athens at the School of Applied Mathematics and Physical Sciences. And she's also co-founder and Chief Technology Officer of Phosprint, a high-tech innovative firm in the sector of laser bioprinting. Phosprint is a spin-off company from the Institute of Communication and Computer Systems of the National Technical University of Athens. Joanna, thank you very much for being here today with us. And
thank you.
Is yours.
Thank you very much for inviting me to share my experience on the setting up this spin-off company named Fosprin, as you said. So good evening to all the participants. I'm glad to present in a short story the Fosprin background. So Fosprin is a company founded in 1.5 years ago. It is aimed to 3D laser bioprinter solutions and services. I am one of the co-founders and the CTO of the company. So we are a high-tech spin-off company. We are established as an IKE, and we work on 3D laser printing technology attractive to researchers and developers primarily in the biomedical sector with our compact laser printer. We have worked a lot to establish intellectual property. So we have a PCT and back to 2017 and the US provisional patent submitted this year. We have a fully functional print after prototype, and we're currently testing applications on tissue regeneration on bladder. And we have an excellent team to work as I'm going to present you now. So we have Dr. Simon Papazoglou is our CEO. I am the CTO of the company. We have Dr. Tinakis, who is a biomedical expert, molecular biologist by training. Maria Palidou, she is our CFO with many years background in financial management in Johnson & Johnson and other companies. And we have two valuable advisors with a good background on running similar spin-off companies at their universities. And as Emilia said, we are a spin-off company from ICCS, which is the institute. Actually, we were the first spin-off company of the ICCS. It took us some time to establish the legal aspects of this initiative. But we are very happy that we have proceeded to this venture. So the technology our story with Fosprin started a few years ago as we patented the dual laser beam transfer. That was our invention back to 2017. We incorporated Fosprin as a spin-off company on 2019, and on March we were funded by a grant from Odosaki Foundation to support all our IP costs. That was really very important because, I mean, for a startup, for a spin-off company, high-tech company, the main value is the IP. So then we have, participated in some competitions and some fundraising. Like, for instance, 1 year ago, we got the EU Seal of Excellence under the SME Instrument Phase 1 competition. And then in the beginning of this year, we succeeded with the grant from the Accelerator Science Park of Patras with our first 50,000 euros. We submitted, we have worked a lot during this period, basically focus our application and attracting fundraising. So to this end, we have focused on a specific biomedical application for bladder regeneration, and we have filed our US provisional patent this August. And very recently, we were granted with 2 European projects, one for tumor as an organ on a chip, and the laser bioprinting technology helps to print tumor spheroids for the basic understanding of cancer. And another one that is under a FET open call, Europrint, that aims basically the bladder regeneration application. So Fosprin right now has the participation of these 2 European grants, but of course we are looking forward to enter the real market. We have participated in the last February, just before the lockdown, in San Francisco on the semifinals for startup companies who have qualified in the semi-finalist startup challenge. And my group won the 3D printing award on the same big conference. That's the biggest company, photonics company worldwide, more than 5,000 companies, and the same number for scientists. So we had a very good recognition of our work on this direction. However, this is not enough. In order to be, successful in the entrepreneurship field, you need more than that. I mean, more than the academic or research recognition. So our competition is here in terms of the technologies. The existing technologies for bioprinting is the inkjet and the extrusion, and there are many established companies in this sector. So we are working on another new technology based on laser, offering higher spatial resolution and higher cell viability. So laser finds its position to the printing technologies more and more, but still, I mean, it's not an established technology for commercial products. So this is the principle of this technology is the outline on this small video. I mean, the laser pulse comes from this way, injects a droplet which is printed on the top of the substrate. Our IP, intellectual property, is based on a dual laser beam transfer. So with the first laser, we print the droplet, and there is a second laser that comes and functionalize and post-process the bioink. With this dual laser transfer, we offer higher immobilization and encapsulation of the printed features, which offers a specific advantage on the printed products afterwards. I mean, I have to say that I am coming from an academic ecosystem. I'm a professor and I used to be a researcher all my life. So this is a result of a very focused research work for more than 2 decades. I mean, I was quite obsessed with developing a specific technology and to advance the laser processing for this application. So there are a number of publications on the field which led us to this. To this decision. I was a first author of the first publication worldwide that we used laser pulses to print DNA back to 2005. And then at the National Technical University of Athens, we continued with many other applications and publications on the field. In the last years, we were focused to develop the process, not only for the printing, but also for the immobilization. Maybe this is too technical, so I'm going to proceed. This is another technical, the last technical slide I think I have, and it is an example of printing of cells on different substrates and materials. So basically we print different kind of cells and different kind of medium for 2 different applications. One is for biotechnological applications like pharmaceutical products or other bioantibodies or this kind of materials. And the other main application is for tissue regeneration. So the problem is that we try to solve is that there is an increasing demand for high resolution and digital printing of complex structures, increasing demand for printing of tissues and organ regeneration and transplantation worldwide. So there is a need for disruptive printing technologies for biotech, pharma and medical sector, and disruptive and effective technological solutions to address cell and tissue issues and to improve the quality of life, of course. So our solution offers is on 2 mainstreams. The first is to sell the printer on academic and private research labs, biotech or pharma, and the second is to establish a focus application which addresses a specific regenerative application problem. And I'm going to talk for both now. I mean, this is our printer. is an industrial design of our printer. That means that we offer this printer for any biotech laboratory for, everyday experiments and printing of biological solutions on different substrates. So that's our primary revenue stream. And the secondary revenue stream is to focus on a specific application in regenerative medicine. That will, the roadmap for this is about from 2 to 4 years to develop. So our target customers are research academic institutes, biotech and pharma sector. For the second stream is we focus on university hospital and clinics, focusing on experimental surgery units and offering a new surgical tool for their research. So currently we are working with the group, and we have a contract with a group of Dr. Klinakis at the Bioacademy of Athens, which is next door, hopefully. And fortunately, we have very good access because these experiments are really very, very demanding. And we have already made some first experiments for in vivo testing on the experimental surgery unit. And we now currently intensively continue to work on preclinical testing for the laser bioprinter in bladder tissue regeneration specifically. So our competition is outlined on this slide. We have the technology competition, which is on the right side of the slide, which is basically the other technologies that dominate the market right now, and it is inkjet and extrusion. And there is a big competition from these technologies. However, we believe that the laser bioprinting technology has the advantages compared to the inkjet and extrusion. So within this technological domain, the laser bioprinter, fortunately we don't have many competitors. We have these two SMEs, one in France and Precise Bio in Israel, that they are focused on pancreas and on corneal implants. And there is another group in Fraunhofer. So we are in a good position on this in terms of competition. The market opportunity is here. We are very confident that the 3D bioprinting is expanding, and there is a huge need for a trend for tissue regeneration. This is the challenge we have is to prove that this highly disruptive technology can offer better than the existing ones. We have some, of course, advantages and barriers to others to entry, like our know-how, which is at least 1 year development, and the patents we have currently in our portfolio. So I think this is an outline of our venture. As I said, thank you very much for your attention, and I'm here for any question you may have.
It's very, very impressive indeed. A disruptive technology, as you said. Actually, you're pioneering this technology, if I understood correctly. And it's a lot of passionate work.
Yes,
lots of years.
Of course.
Lots of years behind that.
Absolutely, yes, that's true. And of course, there are two paths for any scientist. One is the academic path, which we all follow, of course, and we work very hard. But, having results in the lab with such a potential impact, it is our, I think that we should all try to bring this a step further, and having exploitation of these technologies out of our laboratories. So, that is, our intention, and But it's not easy. It's very difficult. It's very difficult even if you are male or female. It's very difficult even if you are in Greece or in any country. It is a challenge which is at very high level anyway. Okay.
Yes, because we're talking about a disruptive technology here, which has to be accepted and.
Yes, and also, I mean, there are issues, anything which involves medical sector, it also should pass through, very demanding regulations and approvals. That is also not easy.
Okay, Yanis Kalogiru has a question to pose to you, Joanna, and anyone else, please?
Joanna, I also have a question.
Okay.
Okay, should I make my comment?
Connection is bad. Jens, we cannot hear you very well.
You cannot hear me. Okay, I will try.
We
Now,
can hear you now.
Okay, perhaps it was the microphone. Okay. So first of all, congratulations for this second on Women Entrepreneurship Emilia, and of course congratulations go also to Joanna Zaryotti, because this is the type of entrepreneurship, in my view, coming from the universities, faces a big challenge, which is the valorization of research results from remarkable research that is taking place in Greek universities, and usually there is a missing link between the very good research results and the transformation of these results into economic activity, entrepreneurial activity. So this is a kind of knowledge-intensive entrepreneurship which the Greek economy is needed most right now in order to, at some point, to enter in a recovery path which is based on knowledge, research, innovation, entrepreneurial, knowledge-intensive entrepreneurship. So this is the comment, and congratulations, Joanna, because as she said, we have followed her and this is a long and deep process in order to achieve it. But I would like to ask her a question regarding the gender issue to this kind of research. In my view, there are very good women researchers in Greek universities, and so what is her advice to these colleagues, researchers, the women researchers, that and what is the most difficult thing that she faced in this respect in order to move on with her venture?
Jens, thank you. First of all, let me tell you that I would like to thank you also, because I mean, you know that we discussed together 4 years ago when I was thinking of establishing this startup, and you have encouraged me a lot. And despite the internal difficulties that we have in our closed environment, so thank you very much for all your support all these years. So regarding the gender balance, I have to I have to admit that I never thought that I have personal. Maybe I was I don't know. I mean, but I never thought that I have a gender barrier issue myself in my career. And of course, I mean, listening the numbers and all the reports, reading the reports, I think there is definitely an issue here. I don't know. I mean, of course, but I don't know what's behind this. Is this because the females are not? I don't know. I mean, how to express that in a political correct way. But I see in the labs, for instance, let me say that one. I see in the labs many females. I mean, in my lab, half of the researchers are females. In the Bioacademy of Athens, more than half in the lab are females. For some reason that you may explain better than I do, females are not in a leader's position, so maybe this is the problem behind all this low percentage of participation in entrepreneurship or in other positions. So what I would advise is, of course, I mean, to work hard and to try without having such a barrier. That's the only one I can say.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I pose a question?
Yes, of course. Joanna, go ahead, please.
Well, I really am very impressed and would like to congratulate Joanna Zaryotti and Spring. I was going to ask the same question Yannis Kalogiru asked, by the way, but may I take it a step further? Does she have any advice for academics who want to create spin-offs in Greece?
Of course, thank you very much. Well, I mean, the academics are very much focused on, in Greece, the majority of academics in Greece, I mean, are focused on paper writing. On paper writing and teaching in the class. I mean, that's they think that most of the academics, they believe that this is their mission. So this is a mentality that, to my opinion, should change in order to have any type of growth in this country, and in order, of course, to go further our work in the labs. We need to be able to create ventures and to make exploitation of our products, and this is very difficult. It's not easy. So, I mean, I don't know how do you convince people to do something that is comfortable, to convince them to go out for their comfort zone and to enter to something that is uncharted waters, and really very difficult and very demanding. I don't know if this is, I mean, I believe this should come from the top down. It's very difficult to motivate and to activate every single individual to something that is really very hard.
You are very right. Excuse me. I was in Zoom before coming into this Zoom, which was, the topic was on university spin-offs in the UK. And one of the speakers mentioned that in the UK, it is to one's advantage if one wants to become a full professor to have an enterprise, to have a spin-off from the university. Mm-hmm. So it counts. In Greece, it does not count.
It does not count at all. People, when they prepare their CVs to make a promotion for in the academic position, I mean, we count only papers, nothing more.
This should change.
Of course, this should change first of all, and then there is a very low knowledge and mentality for protecting, for instance, intellectual property. Then the universities and research centers are very low. I mean, the expertise on technology transfer is also very poor, because one man show is not enough. I mean, we cannot do the research and everything. I mean, we should have a kind of structure, offices or, I mean, services to help on the intellectual property, which is the main issue, and also to help on the technology transfer, the technology transfer issue, the market analysis, and all this stuff. I mean, it was a few years ago that Yannis and Joanna had invited a professor from EPFL, a Greek professor that I don't remember his name, and I remember very well that his first sentence, that when he signed his contract with EPFL, the mandate they gave him was teaching, research, and technology transfer, all equal to each other. So this should somehow be, established in our country as well. Otherwise, I don't think that we could expect that every single academic will exit his or her comfort zone, which is reading and writing papers and teaching, which is of course important, but I mean, we should do more than that.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank
Very
you.
insightful.
Thank you. If I may add something here, in order to empower people, in order to go on and valorize their research results and move on with products, it's not only to get only out of their comfort zone. In order to make them get out of their comfort zone, they need some kind of empowerment, and they need a change of mentality, a change of culture, which has to come top down from the university environment, I think. And this is something missing.
Yes,
we take one more question from Joanna. Yeah, from Joanna Castelli.
Yes,
Joanna, one last question.
Okay, so I'm also very pleased to hear about the evolution of this idea that now is a very successful story and finally a spin-off. So congratulations to Joanna and to all the team. So I'd like just to ask about the IP issues, and if you could give us more insights on that part. Of course, had to be dealt with the academic institution where you submitted the proposal.
So, Joanna, yes, let me thank you also personally, because I think you were our first mentor together with Yannis some years ago. So thank you very much for your support all these years. So regarding the intellectual property issues, actually, I mean, yeah, there is a specific pathway that one should follow. First of all, we should, when we have some findings, we should first looking for the patent application and then publishing. So we should not make this mistake. Myself, I have done this mistake a few times in the past. So first publishing and then trying to find the patent, which should be the other way around. So first patent and then publishing. That's the first advice. And then right now, the previous year, as I said, we applied for a US provisional patent. And at this time, having the experience from the previous cases and times that I have with the patenting, I followed the right track for the first time. So, and that was because I had participated to the San Francisco event this February, and then we had some mentoring with IP experts from patent attorneys in US. So I talked with this one of these offices, and I followed their advice. The first thing I did is that we asked for a consulting from the US patent attorneys, that they are offices, that they have experts, engineers, lawyers, patent attorneys, and they can provide us with a proper report if our idea has a value and can be patented. Because not every idea can be patented, because there is prior art, there are other patents, etc. It is very difficult to find this information alone. I mean, it's very difficult to understand if your idea has a potential patentability. So this patent attorney help us a lot on this. I mean, other universities in Europe and in the United States, they have this service indoor. They have lawyers, patent attorneys, and engineers that they do the survey. Yeah? But the first thing we did was to have a good knowledge of the background, and if there is a potential patentability, and then we gave the idea and the proof of the description of our experiment to these guys, and they drafted the claims and the description. Of course, we had to pay them, which is not possible always. It cost us about more than $6,000-7,000 all this survey and the application. So this is the pathway. First is the patent search, and then is contact a patent attorney and establish the potential patentability and drafting the claims. And then there are different routes, either as a PCT, which gives 30 months of priority, or we can or others prefer to go to the US. Of course, there is the Greek law here, that we had to go all these three through to these legal issues. There is a Greek law that claims that every patent from every Greek citizen should first be applied in OV, in the Organization Industrial Institute in Athens. But okay, we have also some, further elaboration for this law, and we overcame to this issue quite easily. So this is the...
And did the institute, the university, contribute to all these?
As I said, yes. As I said, this venture is a spin-off of the ICCS. ICCS has 12% of the company, from sources like overheads from European projects that I ran in the institute, we paid all this cost.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joanna Zaryotti, for very, very inspiring presentation. You are a role model. You should be a role model.
Thank you.
For our students. And thank you. Thank you so much. We go on with Eleni Gogou. Eleni is a co-founder of Natural Food Additives and head of R&D and product design and applications in the company. And she's also a senior researcher at the Laboratory of Food Chemistry and Technology at the NTUA. The floor is yours, Eleni, and thank you so much for being here with us this evening.
Nice to be here, and it was really, really nice to receive your invitation to join this very interesting and special event. My name is Eleni Gogou. I'm a chemical engineer, but I'm also a co-founder in a startup company. Our journey started a few years ago, back in 2014. I hold a PhD on food engineering from the Laboratory of Food Chemistry and Technology in National Technical University of Athens. And I remember that it was 2014. I had a very, very difficult day in the lab, running a lot of experiments. And during a break, my very good friend and colleague, Dimitris Ximogiannis, had this idea. He told me, "Hey, Eleni, why aren't we doing all this job? Why don't we try and transfer it and establish a company?" To be honest, I thought that he was joking. To be honest, I never considered myself to be an entrepreneur or starting a startup company. I was I had just completed my PhD. I was a senior researcher in several European research projects, and I was happy with that and with my life. Of course, back in 2014, we were thinking in this crisis that we are trying to survive. So I considered Dimitri's proposition to consider establishing a startup company as a mission impossible, and I was not Tom Cruise, neither did he. So, of course, the other barrier in my head, in my mind, was that I considered to be myself a researcher. What does a researcher has to do with companies and startups and products and business models? I had nothing to do with that. Everything seemed to be a joke for me. However, Dimitris came back the next morning and he told me exactly the same thing. So it convinced me. And I was very lucky because a few weeks later, I had a short discussion with Professor Kalogiru and Joanna Castelli. And, well, we thought, okay, let's go for it. Why don't we just consider the idea? Don't do it, but just consider the idea. And after 6 years from that, in 2020, the company has been established 3 years now. I mean, we started with the business model and considering the option of establishing a startup company. And the company was actually established in 2017. So we are running the 4th year of existence. And before going to my further slides, let me just give you some hints about our company. NFA stands for Natural Food Additives. What we're doing, actually, we are the only company in Greece that we are performing extraction processing in aromatic and pharmaceutical plants. This is an oxymoron because the biodiversity that we find in Greek plants is unique on a global level. However, there is no company valorizing this very, very important biodiversity. And the major thing about aromatic and pharmaceutical plants is that they are very rich in valuable bioactive compounds, that they show several bioactive functions. For example, antioxidant activities, antimicrobial activity, anti-inflammatory, and so forth. So what we are doing is that we extract the bioactive natural ingredients that can be easily used and adapted in existing processing lines and in existing product formulation to our customers. And we are also offering R&D consulting services. Especially the Greek food producing companies are actually seeking and they want to have this R&D consulting because there is a lack in that in the Greek food producing companies. Our vision from the start was to give added value to the Greek agro-food sector. And the most important, and our mission was to two out of 3 members of NFA, we hold a PhD. So our mission was to help and transfer our knowledge and our research findings out in the market in the real life. So that was our mission. Of course, going back to in 2014, when I actually decided to go for it, I was sure that I didn't have almost any of these skills that are listed here. Here you can have a slide where I have listed some of the most important skills that an entrepreneur has to have so as to, to be as successful as possible. However, in my opinion, the most important skills when you're going out there to establish a startup and go to the real market and sell your products and services is time management, creative thinking, problem solving, commitment, and of course dealing with failure. As you can see, and of course dealing with failure. As my favorite Woody Allen have said, if you're not failing every now and then, it's a sign you're not doing anything very innovative. And let me tell you that we have been the last 3 years. So what about women in entrepreneurship and in startup companies? Most of the people that have not been active in research and in startup companies consider that a woman entrepreneur looks like that. But most of the times, women entrepreneurs, I think that we are more close to a woman running a marathon and jogging at the same time. And most of the times in my company, this is what I do. This is actually a photograph, a picture from me a few hours ago in our production facility. I was trying to make a joke that sometimes people that they don't know me and they know that I have started a startup company and all that, and I have been talking around about my startup company. They don't really get it because they consider that they should see the woman in the first picture. But on the other hand, they're seeing Elena, and you can see this is a picture from today's work a few hours later, a few hours earlier in our production facility, where I prepare the second new batch of rosemary to proceed with the extraction. So let's go to the next slide and let's see what I had in mind. So I had 2 slides with some issues regarding the role of women in society. Can you hear these slides?
Should I switch slides?
I cannot see your screen, Emilia, so now I can see it. So go through Woody Allen and go to the next slide.
Okay. Is this one?
Yeah, there is I cannot see the next screen. Can you see a woman?
Yes.
I wanted to include in my presentation this slide because I think that this initiative, like the one that we are having today, we have to be honest and say what is the problem and why do women have barriers in entering the entrepreneurial system or starting their own business and all that. The truth is that so I was at the point that I was trying to share my thoughts on when reading all these articles and position papers, and when seeing all the data like Sophia presented earlier about women and the barriers in getting in the entrepreneur ecosystem and all that, society and ecosystem, my opinion is that for women are connected to the role of women in the society. I mean, some years ago, I announced starting a company. To be honest, my parents would prefer to just tell them that I am pregnant or something like that. So what I'm saying is that we all know that the role of women in society is very complicated, and we are raised to have different roles, and we are raised to be multitaskers. Let's go to the next. Okay, so the experience that I had to deal with is how to go to transfer from the research, from a research and an academia environment, to transfer Eleni, go to entrepreneurship field. This is most of the times this is very difficult. I mean, from my experience, and I have been more than 15 years a research scientist in NTUA, in National Technical University of Athens. For most people that are doing a PhD and they are research scientists, it's very, very difficult to even imagine themselves to being part of a company or a startup. I mean, the previous presenter and the questions that she had was all about that. So the second thing that I had to deal is how to change the mindset that I had as a researcher in the university, and change this mindset and transfer it in order to establish a company and try and do this work. This, from my experience, this was one of the most difficult things. Of course, there are several advantages when you come from the academia and from the research field. There are many advantages because you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of technical skills, that all these technical skills and knowledge can help you go further. However, it's very, very difficult to try and convince not only yourself, but only the other people how they see you when you start introducing yourself as a founder of a startup company. I think this is quite tricky sometimes. I'm not saying that I found this to be a barrier for me, but it was tricky, and to be honest, I am still trying to find my way and see how to handle this change of roles, from the researcher to the co-founder of a startup company and back and forward. Because my status right now is that apart from being a co-founder in a startup company, I'm still working as a researcher. So, you know, these two roles can act. It's quite tricky to find a way in that. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, and this is when we went to the startup incubator. They were all the people and people that they're trying, you know, consultants and all that. They were describing this so-called valley of death. This is the valley of death for startup companies, and from my experience, the most important thing and most important, the most important thing to survive this valley of death, please enter again, is to have good collaborations. And when I say, if you enter again, Emilia, when I'm saying collaboration, saying the co-founders of my startup, but also the importance and the need of a helpful ecosystem. And here is where startup incubators and initiatives like Μονάδα Καινοτομίας και Επιχειρηματικότητας in NTUA comes here. And this is actually, if it was not for those teams, I'm sure that we wouldn't go any further, and NFA would be only, you know, an idea in our heads. So let's go to the next slide. And here you can see what I call, and these are some statistics, but I don't want to waste any more time. This is some statistics about the startup ecosystem. And in the next couple of slides, Emilia, you will see some figures and numbers. And of course, the Greek startup ecosystem, when compared to the ecosystem in Europe or in the USA, we could say that the ecosystem in Greece back in 2015 and 2017 was not as good as it could. However, I think that the last years we have been seeing a lot of things going on that, and I know for sure that the Greek startup ecosystem has evolved a lot the last years, and I'm sure that the next years will be evolving as well. And this is very, very important for new people that they would like to see their idea to have it being transformed in a company. So let's go through the next 2 slides. I don't want to waste any more time on these figures. Okay, and another enter. Here. Okay. Let's stay on this, Emilia. You can see here, I found a report on startups in Greece in 2019, where you can see that only 12 of startup teams are female. Okay, so it suggests that yes, it is a male-dominated field. But previous speakers have also have already talked about that. Let's go to the next slide. And here are our angels. As I said, here are the people, the foundations that started me and my collaborators in establishing NFA, and this the Innovation and Entrepreneur Hub in NTUA, where Professor Kalogirou and Joanna Castelli helped us a lot. And then we received a host in Startup Incubator, the Ekinis Lab. That was actually one of the first startup incubators back in 2014. And we also received a national fund from ESPA on startup companies. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, let's see our story. Yeah, here you can see my collaborators. We are 3 co-founders in NFA. Dimitris Simogiannis is a chemist with a PhD on recovery and characterization of bioactive compounds. And there's Minas Soulis, who is a mechanical engineer, and he's very, very important for us. Also, I remind you that we are a productive startup company who produce final products. And the next slide, you can see a few photos of how we evolved. You press a few enters, Emilia, to have the whole picture. One more, and one more. Here, stop. You can see how we started in the lab in NTUA. Then we moved on buying a larger equipment. Then in 2016 and 2017, before establishing the company, we performed some, we scaled up our processes, and we tried to optimize our processing line. We used established facilities in other companies that we have been collaborating with. And here today, you can see in 2020, here is a snapshot of our production facility that's located in Tavros, Athens. And then go to the next slide, Emilia, please. Okay, and this is how what we are doing all these years. We have been reading a lot of papers. We have been publishing a lot of papers on bioactive compounds and extracts. We have been designing our production line. We have been scaling up and optimizing our processes. Of course, we have been doing a lot of laboratory work, and a very important collaborator here is NTUA, that we have a contract with the Laboratory of Food Chemistry and Technology. And so we have the infrastructure to run some experiments for us, and it's very, very, very important for us. And we really appreciate that. And in the next slide, you can see that all this mess and this massive information of scientific publications and all that can turn into, in the first picture, you can see our first, it's a sampling kit that we usually give to our potential customers during the first meeting with them. And on the right side picture, you can see our first product that has been commercialized 3 years ago and is already used by companies in Greece and in France. And actually in Greece, Apivita, which is a very big company, is one of our first invoice actually was from Apivita. We have a very good collaboration with them. And next slide. Here is just, you can see the milestones, how we began from being hosted in a startup incubator. We developed our business model. We were granted this ESPA fund that was very, very important. And in 2017, we established NFA, and we have received several awards in some competitions about startup companies in the agri-food sector. And very recently, we received a grant from the Horizon 2020 research project, where we will be collaborating for the next 4 years with a lot of companies and researchers in Europe, and we are very, very happy on that. And I think that this is, here is where my presentation is completed. In the next slide. Thank you very much, and I really apologize for all this mess, and I hope that you were not messed with that. Thanks. Thank you very much.
This is not your fault, Eleni. This is.
I know, but I have to apologize, Emilia.
Okay. Your presentation was actually very stimulating and very interesting indeed, because you have tried not only to show what you're actually doing, which is also very impressive, your whole idea and how you managed to get from the lab to the production stage, and how you have managed to grow. But also you have showed us the different, the conflicting roles, let's say, of between the researcher and the entrepreneur, and the importance of helpful ecosystems in general in order to help these knowledge-intensive ventures grow and flourish. So, are there any questions from the floor, please? Are there any questions? Can you hear me?
May I just congratulate Eleni Gogu and also NTUA. I mean, your team, Yannis Kalogiru, Ioanna Castelli, and all the team for these wonderful examples.
So, if there are no other, Yannis Kalogiru, something to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ioanna Pepelasi, for being also always present in also last year and also in other events that we have organized, and bringing us also knowledge from your experience and from your not only in promoting this venture, but also the, let's say, a historical sense of what has been done in Greece in promoting entrepreneurship. Second, I would like to, of course, to congratulate Mrs. Eleni Gogu, because she, I can remember her persistence trying to follow the valorization path. So this is another very good example also in industries that are needed. They are going well in Greece, but they are needed very much new knowledge and new insights. And also the problems, she summarized very well the problems that and the skills that are needed when you are a researcher or when you are an entrepreneur. And completely agree. about the resilience that she mentioned and the other issues when you have to try to set up an entrepreneurial venture. But I believe also project management is important in setting up a startup. It's not only research, but also setting up a startup. And I wish you all the best, because you are also a role model again. And this is what we are trying to do, because usually people are motivated also through good results, especially in Greece, where failure is not very well understood in Greece, because sometimes failure is considered as a sin, but failure is a learning experience. And so if you see people also that succeed, this is something that can give a big push to other researchers and of course women researchers, because I believe that we have many very good women researchers and they need inspiration and let's say assistance, practical support in order to make the big move. Thank you very much again.
So is there another question? Joanna Castelli, you have a question?
Yes, I also...
Please be brief, because we're running out of time.
Yes, I just wanted to say that when I saw this slide about the skills, the research, the skills of a researcher and the skills of an entrepreneur, and I was thinking that Eleni was a typical case that who presented all the skills of a researcher and very quickly understood what were the skills that were needed in order to launch this entrepreneurial venture. And I think this was a very successful, this was a very big effort, but also had a successful ending.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joanna. So,
However, very small comment.
Yes.
I don't consider Joanna to be successful, not yet, but I hope that I will be in the next year. So we'll see.
At least for the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to be. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
You have done a lot, though, and you have done a lot. You have done a lot of way up to the point you are now. So, I would like to present our next speaker, which is Elena Ralatsu. We're going to see now a different venture coming from an established entrepreneur. Elena is CEO and co-founder of Pabuka. She has a long entrepreneurial experience since 2000, when she co-founded Sieben, the predecessor of Pabuka. Pabuka is an international business solutions provider with a portfolio of 3,000 businesses from 85 countries around the world. So, Elena, the floor is yours, and thank you very much for being here with us this evening to share your experience as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here today. First of all, let's make sure that we do not have any technical issues. So now you must see you must be seeing my presentation, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. Okay. So let's start by introducing myself. I am a mechanical engineer. I graduated from NTUA many years ago. And today I will introduce to you my company, which is Pabuka. Our vision in Pabuka is to be the next global leader that will disrupt customer experience for brands and retailers. Our customers become masters in customer experience because they are using Pabuka's platforms and services. Now I have changed my slide. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so I proceed normally. So By customer experience, we mean all customer interactions with our client's business, including all touch points of a customer journey, from research, purchase, the use of product or service, and after-sales support. So, customer experience is what turns a satisfied customer into a loyal customer and a brand ambassador. This is what we do in Pobuka for our customers. I'm trying to change the slide here. Okay. So, as Emilia said, indeed, we started our company in Greece in 2000 under the name Ziben. And since then, we have been leaders in CRM and business productivity here in Greece. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. I have to explain that. In 2016, we took the leap to become a cloud company and expand globally. Our industry focus now is on brands and retailers as we help them to grow, leveraging technology. Pobuka has 100 employees and makes 4 million euros in revenue. We are an award-winning go-to-market platform from brands and retailers based on artificial intelligence technology. We are Microsoft Gold partners and twice awarded as Microsoft Country Partners of the Year, while our software is based on Microsoft Cloud technologies. Since 2016, we have been invested 7 million to our software in artificial intelligence, and now we are ready to scale globally. So we started from Greece, but since 2016, when we decided to become a global company, we moved our headquarters in London, and we also have presence in Poland, Argentina, and Dubai. Moreover, we have customers from 30 countries that subscribe directly to our software through our website and download our software. This is our team. This is our management team. The 4 founders, you can see them at the top line. We have been working together for more than 20 years, since we were students in NTUA and Technical University of Patras. Some fellow members of our management team have invested their own money on Pobuka over the last 2 years, something which has its own significance about our strategy and our vision. So let's discuss about some of the challenges that we have to overcome since our beginning. As I say, we were very young. We started back in 2000. We had no experience in commercial and operational issues. We have a little experience in technical issues. Back then, we had no mentoring, no guidance, no startup incubators. We had no initial capital. We had no business strategy. And we had no business plan. This resulted this has had, as a result, a great number of poor decisions that we made that cost us time and money. In another session, I will be happy to discuss about that. But what the previous speaker said is true. And then the economic crisis in 2008 hit us when we started to grow. But we adapted quickly, although a bad timing for us back in 2009 was that we had already invested in a privately owned building. We couldn't know back then that it was not a good time to invest in something like that. So, as a result, while we have a very rapid growth in headcount because we had business running and new people came over, we have no governance plan, we had no middle management, and we hadn't built any human resources culture. And then the capital control crisis in 2015 further hit our sales. We realized that We have been working in a very uncertain environment here in Greece, and moreover, we had a great investment in place since 2013, and we had we had a difficulty to try to complete it. So this resulted in us making a decision to address the global market, to transform our solutions to the software as a service model so that we can address the global market. So back in 2016, we pivoted rapidly, and because we had a business plan which looked at the future, we managed to find investors. After that, we were forced to change our governance plan. We were forced to have a solid strategy. Now we have a management team. Between us, we communicate with full transparency. We defined our statement of purpose together. And most significant is that we work as a team. We are friends, we feel like family, and we think that that this last bullet is something that not only stands inside the management team, the close circle of the management team and the 4 founders, but in our personnel as well. So today, the challenges we are facing, of course, they have to do with the outbreak of COVID-19. This has affected our sales, mainly because it has affected our customers. As I told you, our main focus is on the industry of brands and retailers. And today, as we speak, retail businesses are closed. Moreover, COVID had affected the unity of all teams because we had to switch to remote working. So we needed to build a new culture, a new mentality to stick together and while we couldn't see each other. In Greece, we are leader in customer experience for brands and retailers. But still, our target to expand in new markets stands. What we're really trying to do is to make Pobuka self-sustainable and use new investors' money only for further growth. Let's see some figures about our female presence. As you can see, women are present and active at Pobuka because they represent 46% of overall personnel and 50% of our management team. As I told you, 2 out of 4 founders also are female. The most important aspect of this percentage is the female contribution to our management style. In Pobuka, the characteristics of the female minds and mentality work in a unique way, and we manage how to manage our teams and the company. So we combine our IQ and EQ, we combine our analytical way of thinking and processing facts and dealing with issues with sensitivity, and we're applying our empathy in the everyday decision-making processes. Empathy meaning the ability to sense other people's emotion, coupled with the ability to imagine that what someone else might be thinking or feeling. So by that, we cultivate human relationships with diplomacy and we avoid direct conflict. This is the environment that we work in Pobuka. In Pobuka, women represent 50% of our management and founders team, and this gender diversity plays a key role to our success. Personally, I'm proud that we have built an all-inclusive management style that allows both genders to succeed. This is a matter of a leadership perspective and not a skill competition. Here you may see a quote made by Simone Veil, who was a French lawyer and politician and the first woman to become president of the European Parliament. This summarizes in a great way what we are doing in Pobuka. And the truth is that we do it without having to talk about it or planning it, which is even more important. We just identify it as a true fact and move on. And finally, look at this article. When I see an article like that, I feel that to suggest that a group of people have biological characteristics that make them less suited for work is offensive. If I read a similar article reversed, I would be offended, because we think that this is not a gender race. And so men and women, we are not the same, of course, but we are of equal quality. So we must work together to combine all our different skills and make a successful organization. Thank you very much for your time. I'm here for every question you might have. And since the audience, I know that a lot of them are still studying or is still at the university. I would like to let you know that we are hiring in Pobuka, and if everyone wants to send to us a CV, they may do so by sending an email at hr@pobuka.com. Thank you very much for your invitation.
Thank you very much, Elena. Very, very inspiring presentation, and very, very interesting indeed, because you showed us many, many things, how you scaled globally in middle of the economic crisis in Greece. This is a very important decision. You took the crisis as an opportunity, I guess.
Yes,
so.
Yes.
And you did it in a very planned and very professional way with a business plan. You found investors, and you decided that this is a way to go ahead because the internal market was shrinking.
Exactly.
I'm also very much stand about your culture and mentality and the balance of genders in your company. I mean, your company should be a role model, and in terms of gender balance. And also it's very impressive, the fact that you are a very well connected team. You're five people that run the company since you were students, or you were friends and since you were students. And also I think it's very, very impressive and very important what you presented us, the key role of diversity in the management team and the style of management team that women brings, which is the IQ complementing EQ, the analytical thinking with sensitivity and empathy, which is very, very important, even in high-tech companies, because you have to do with lots of clients and lots of different customers in different sectors, I suppose. So this is very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So if there are any questions, please, from the floor to Elena.
If I may, I want to congratulate Elena.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And if there are no other questions, could I ask one, please? You mentioned the coronavirus crisis, and you told us that your customers have been affected by the coronavirus pandemic, so your company is also impacted negatively, I suppose. How do you see things going regarding your company in this crisis?
What happened with us since March, let's say, is that our customers are very reluctant to proceed to new IT projects. While they had budget to invest, and they had the need to invest to IT projects having to do with their sales force organization, with loyalty schemes for their customers. They are reluctant to proceed because they are afraid also about their own revenues over these past months. Since September, we started to have more frequent discussions about moving on to some projects that they were parked. This is the parked in our language means that we have extensively discussed the proposed solution with the customer. They want to proceed with us, but they are reluctant to let's say the final okay. And now the same happened these past 2 weeks. We are in the same situation like we were in spring, but let's say a little bit better because now we all have learned how to live with that. So we expect that until the end of the year, some of them will realize that to move on with the project that they want and they have designed, maybe this must be done regardless of the pandemic.
Okay.
So this is our main concern, that, that our customers are reluctant to move forward to a new project.
Let's hope that all this thing with the pandemic will end soon.
Yeah.
And with this, we will move forward with our last presenters. This is an interesting case about a student entrepreneurship case. There are two students, Danai Brilli and Maria Georgila, who are going to present us their own venture, and they're going to tell us where they stand now and where they want to be 3 years from now. So Danai, the floor is yours. Thank you very much, you and Maria, for being here today.
Hello, I would like to thank you for inviting us here also. I will share my screen right now. Wait.
Thank you.
Nope. I think it's not full screen. Is it full screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So, hello. We are Danai and Maria, and we're both currently undergraduate students passionate about entrepreneurship. We would like to welcome you to today's event, and we would like to say that we are very honored to be a part of it. We will share with you our experience with our startup, Circles, and what led us to develop it. But firstly, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Danai. I am 21 years old, and I am a fourth-year student in Electrical and Computer Engineering at National Technical University of Athens. Since I was a kid, I loved technology, but what I loved even more was taking part in robotics competitions because, well, it taught me how to try my best for something while having fun and working on a group. So about business, my very first experience in the field was when I was 16, when a group of students of my school, including myself, took a part in a student innovation contest with a startup, and well, weirdly enough, we won.
Hey everyone, I am Maria and I am studying computer science. From a very young age, I wanted to get involved with business, but to me it seemed very strange that nearly everyone at the top of this line of work was male. But how did everything start? Let us take you back to 2018. We were both on our second year of study, and we both have had some courses about business organization and management. We had attended some startup events, and we are unsure about what we want to do in the future. But everything was on table. Through the university, I discovered the Invent ICT, and also led to me getting to meet the nine. And we decided that our goals collide. It wasn't long before we found out about various problems in the market. Okay. At first, we have found a problem in the market when it comes down to sessions with psychology. It appears to be too expensive for the majority of the population. Also, another major problem lies in the fact that seeing a therapist takes too much of your personal time. Also, before our application, you couldn't have access to your psychology through your smartphone, a problem that connect with time issue. Group therapy also appear to not be too popular nowadays, and patients can easily connect with other people and their problems that are similar to theirs, especially places far from the capital have access to a way smaller pool of therapists. Last but not least, because of the rising problem of the current pandemic, every kind of service appears to slowly come online.
So, discussing the above problem, something came to our attention. There were no apps or platforms available for dealing with it. Well, at least in Greece. So we decided we had to do something about it. Following an announcement in Maria's University about the startup incubator, Inventor, we decided to take our chances and apply. The solution we developed is an app featuring two main utilities. When a user signs up to it, he selects some characteristics about his lifestyle or some problems that he may be going through and wants to talk about. Then, the app suggests some circles, or as we call them, meaning a group chat monitored by a psychologist. It resembles a form of group therapy as people share their experience and get to ask or give advice. The second part of our app consists of personal e-counselling. The user can choose a psychologist and have a video call, a voice call, or even a text exchange with him. Both utilities are available 24/7, and the user gets to remain anonymous if he likes. So, we developed a business plan and applied to Invent ICT. Being two students without any experience in the field, we never expected to be accepted. To our great surprise, sometime after our application, we got an email by the incubator congratulating us for getting accepted. We could not believe it. We were very excited on the moment, and we could not wait for what was to come. So our journey in Invent started some months ago, and we got to attend multiple events that inspired us to work even harder for what we wanted to achieve, like the CEO Nights. There were many workshops and webinars made to help us even more, sometimes with practical stuff, like some business plan related stuff, or some more soft skills related, like personal branding. On top of that, 2 months ago, we got assigned a mentor that gives us constant help and advice, being an expert in the field.
That brings us today. The most difficult part about our project, though, is the search of people that have the same passion as we have. As we haven't been in the business before, it appeared to be really hard for us to find the right people for the project. Even though we are both technology students, we have found out that building something like that requires multiple hours and self-teaching, and delving into a concept we weren't familiar with. But above everything else, what matters is being passionate about what you do and yearning for a change. That's what the team is all about. Two girls in a mainly male-dominant world trying to make a change and also improve various aspects of what we love for us and for everyone that needs this psychology support.
So, about our future, We really believe in everyone having access to therapy, even if it's group therapy or personal therapy, and we're trying our best to make it real. So thank you very much for your interest and your attention, and feel free to ask us any question that you like.
Thank you very much, Danai and Maria, for the presentation of your idea and for being here with us. It's important to see such student entrepreneurship ideas coming to life. And your example actually shows how important it is to encourage young people, especially those highly qualified, to start their own business. And the higher education system could contribute to the development of appropriate skills and stimulate more the entrepreneurial spirit of students. And it's important to provide some initial support, because you mentioned the role of Invent ICT, and which I think it came at a very critical moment of the whole, let's say, involvement of your idea and how you were planning to proceed. So it helped you. I understood that it helped you, and it continues to help you.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't have any background in the field, so we could not have done anything on our own, because even if we wanted to do it, it would take so much time to try and catch up with a completely irrelevant field to us. And we had to study and research so much. And then Invent comes here and help us with that. So we are really thankful for that experience.
So are there any questions for Danai and Maria from the floor, please?
Wishes for good luck. I'm very impressed.
Anyone else? So there are no questions, no more questions? Oh. Okay. So we certainly run out of time, but I think very interesting stories and very talented people and women have participated in today's webinar. Very inspiring and talented people, and I would like to thank all of you. But before coming to an end, I would like to hear a last remark from all of you, every one of the speakers, about especially the speakers from ventures, either as ventures established or very, very nascent ones, in how you can see yourself, let's say, in 5 years from now, and what you see as the major difficulties having to overcome in order to reach your goals. Joanna Zaryotti, would you like to?
So first, as a okay. Yeah, how I would like to see Foster in 5 years from now. I would like to see a success story and success in the main technical challenge we have, achieving the regenerative question, producing more jobs for graduate students from here, from the university, from my group and other groups, of course, and making a success story that I don't know. I mean, it is really very important. To my view, having an outcome from a Greek university, from any university, but even more from a Greek one, despite all the financial crisis, all the situation we are facing. I mean, to give an example that we can make a success story of high-tech company for the future of young people, of course. And encouraging people of doing something for their own instead of going, for instance, to the public sector or working in an international company. Do your business, take your life on your own somehow. Okay, so I think to succeed on this, we have a lot of work to do ourselves right now and in the next few years. I don't know, sometimes if we were based in another country, many times I feel that we would have a better chance for that. We will see. I don't know. Hopefully we will do some good job for the future. Okay, so this is from me.
Yes, thank you so much. I wish you every success, and I'm sure that you have some way to go, as you said, but you're very persistent. Of course, if you were based in another country, maybe your chances were more, let's say, you maybe had more chances and you may have had done more steps right now. But the thing that you persist in Greece is also very, very important, I think. And yes, you have proven that, and I think that you will succeed in what you're doing.
Okay, so hopefully, yes, we are not a success story yet.
Yes.
So we are not yet. So we have a lot of work to do. Hopefully,
of course, you have a lot of way to go, but hopefully you will. That's what I'm saying. And
yes, hopefully, yes. Thank you.
Eleni?
Well, yes. I would like to see NFA grow. We are at that stage, and most preferably, I would like to see an exponential growth. I want it to happen in an exponential growth. So I would like to see myself after 5 years being in NFA that will have grown, and we will have more people joining us and having people working for NFA and be passionate. And with regards the role of women in entrepreneurship and in startup companies, I am sure that in the future we will see a lot of young women like Maria and Danai. I mean, your presentation was great. I had a smile on my face because you are very passionate. And I'm sure that in the future we'll see that the percentage of women entering and being head of this kind of initiatives will be growing. And I think it's all for the best for the society, for the ecosystem and all that. So, and I would like to see more of your initiatives, Emilia, like this one. I mean, it was a great webinar, and I would like to see more on that, and we'll be happy to join.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I wish you every success in whatever you're doing in your company. Elena?
Oh, yes, I totally agree both with Joanna and Eleni. I totally agree. It was a very good initiative. Of course, all of us, if we were in another environment, we could have, we too believe that we could do it even better. We will have more chances. But we are here, we are trying, we have a lot of obstacles to overcome. We have a lot of work to do. And the two girls, they were very passionate, and I really hope that you continue to be like that. I'm very happy that I met all of you. As for me, what I really want is for my company not to feel the turbulences of the environment around us. What I really want is, let's say in 5 years from now, if another type of crisis come of whatever kind, not to shake us so much, not to feel frightened about our sustainability so much. Just to have a little more peace in our everyday life when talking about the business, of course. This is all. Again, I'm very happy to have met all of you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you, Elena, for being with us. And I also wish you every success, and I hope that this crisis will end soon. And unfortunately, it's very disruptive for many kinds of businesses. Danai and Maria?
We would like to thank you as well for inviting us here. It was awesome, and we are very glad to meeting all of you and listening to your stories. Well, as we mentioned, we're students, so in 5 years, we have no idea what we'll be doing. Like, even if it's about our startup, if it's about our studies, it's a very fluent, so we have no idea what we're going to do in the next years, but we are trying our best to bring our startup to life and make our passion real. So yeah, that's it.
I wish all your dreams come true soon. And maybe I would like one last word from Sophia, who did a great job presenting us all these comparative things with entrepreneurship. And then I would like a last word from Yannis Kalogiru. Thank you.
So it's very important to mention that women don't lag behind in ideas. Women have the confidence, the skills to innovate, to design new products, to promote their products in new foreign markets. And of course, they don't lack of management skills. But perhaps the social perception embeds their activities. A social perception results to capital access, the barriers to capital access, raising access. How compared to male, of course. It's important to say that maybe the domestic environment, business environment, seems to lag behind in Europe and high-income countries. However, finding that highlights the importance and the ongoing need for more targeted policies. We have to enhance female entrepreneurship to encourage women to launch businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you very much.
Yannis, one last word from you.
Yes, you are muted.
You are muted now. We can hear you.
Did you unmute me? I can't.
Yes, we can hear you.
Some kind of voice.
Could you unmute me? Okay.
Yes, you are unmuted now, but now you are muted again.
Now you can hear me?
Yes.
So, thank you very much all, Emilia, for the organization and all the participants. I believe it was a great webinar, and I think that it gave a message of hope in difficult times. For us, as a university persons, that we are working in this field, both in terms of research about innovation and entrepreneurship and in promoting the idea of valorization of research and supporting all these new ladies and also the men and in the university, researchers, students, etc. That there is something very important there. There is, let's say, a source for growth and development, which is very much needed these times, and for solving societal problems. We see what is going on in order to meet the pandemic, and many distinguished Greek groups and researchers, both in Greece and in diaspora, they are working in all this effort in order to find a vaccine, to have new methods of treatment, etc. So there is really a big opportunity, but you need hard and deep work in order to achieve results. But even if you don't achieve results at the end by setting up a very successful firm, all this journey is very important. Even if you stay in the university or you keep working in another business or even in the public sector, it is very important to go through this journey. So the message is, yes, we can, in order to remember also a political message which is very important. And I believe that we have to take care of this webinar and distribute it also to other people, to students and to other people that are involved in this effort, not only in Greece, but also in this network, because we are now member of a very big international global network related to women entrepreneurship. So again, congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Emilia, for what you did. And I hope you will continue this tradition and this work also next year.
I wouldn't have done anything without all these talented and inspiring people that we were here with us today. And I will keep your last sentence. Yes, we can. So I would like to thank all our distinguished speakers and thank them for their collaboration in organizing all this. I would also like to thank our participants and despite that we ran out of time and all the technical difficulties that we had to overcome, overall, I think it was a very interesting and constructive webinar. Thank you very much once again, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Thank you.